Julyssa, great to be here with you to discuss Dr. Fusion.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. So what inspired you to get started on your journey to healthcare?
Well, my journey in healthcare began when I was in high school when my grandfather had colon cancer that infected his lungs and he had lung cancer. He had his surgeries, he went through chemo, radio, and about a year later he died. And that kind of made me realize that I wanted to help people who were sick and that I was passionate about that. So I did a bachelor's degree in nursing, and then I did a master's degree in the science of anesthesia, and then I did a doctor's degree in anesthesia.
Oh, so tell us before we dive a little bit deeper, just tell us a little bit more about your background.
So I was born and raised in New Jersey. I am from Morristown, New Jersey. My parents are Puerto Rican, so my culture is Puerto Rican. And when I finished my high school, I went to Puerto Rico. College is a lot cheaper over there. And I did my bachelor's degree and my master's degree in Puerto Rico. And then I moved to Florida, where I started working as a nurse anesthetist, and I did my doctorate degree here in Hollywood, Florida. And I have been practicing anesthesia for about 10 years now.
Oh, wow. So who's some people that inspired you along the way to get started?
My husband, number one, Felix. When I met Felix, I was a nurse in the emergency room and I was working crazy hours, crazy shifts. I worked 3 days. Second shift was 3 to 11. And then I would have to stay like about 4 or 5 hours later. I had a 1-year-old. I didn't have anyone to take care of him when I couldn't come home. And he saw me struggling and, you know, he was obviously interested. So he made his approach and he would always ask me like what were my plans? What did I plan to do? And I had told him that I wanted to become a midwife and that I was doing like my year or two of practice in the emergency room to then switch over to labor and delivery. And then I would, apply for a master's degree in midwife. And then we started talking and he believed in me when I did it. I was like, I was struggling economically. I was a single mother with a little one who didn't have much help. And I didn't believe I could do it. I didn't see a way out, but he did. He believed in me and he kind of, lifted me and, helped me through the way.
Oh, that's awesome. So people that are unfamiliar with IV therapy, what are the biggest benefits they might not expect?
A lot of patients are skeptical, so a lot of patients are, curious. So they come in and they want something for energy. And I recommend like a Myers cocktail, a little an infusion that has a little minerals, antioxidants, and vitamins. Since I don't have labs, I always recommend labs first. We can also draw that in the office. But patients don't want to be like an hour or two. They don't want me to stick them twice. So they're like, no, just give me an infusion that will give me a little bit of energy. So I'll give them a Myers cocktail, and it has vitamin C, B complex, B12, magnesium, and calcium. It's a complete infusion that it has all the minerals, antioxidants, vitamins that we actually use every day. Um, and obviously, immediately they feel hydrated. Their lips start plumping. They feel more awake. Their eyes start opening a little bit more. And then with the first 30 minutes, an hour, they feel a little bit more energy and more focus. And then if they had any pain, inflammation, it's like gone the next day. They wake up and they wake up without feeling sluggish, without feeling like it's so hard to get out of bed, and they don't expect that. The next day is when they most feel the infusion. So they go to sleep, they wake up, and their eyes wake up, and it's just like, wow, I have no feeling of, I don't feel groggy, I don't feel weak. My brain woke up and I'm ready to go and start the day.
So how do you like personalize a treatment plan for each client or customer that walks through the door?
So when a customer comes in through the door, I ask them what their goal is, what are they looking for, how they feel, how they have been feeling for the past week, and then we come up with a plan. So I have a patient The most common is I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm always tired, I have a lot of brain fog. I think I need B12. Everybody associates being tired with deficiencies in B vitamins, especially B12. So when we start talking, I will ask them, I was like, do you take the sun? Are you outside? Do you have any lab works? If you have any recent lab works, anything from 6 months to more recent labs will be effective. And usually they don't. So I always recommend, hey, we can do, these labs. We can do your yearly labs, which it would be CBC, which would tell me your hemoglobin. And then we would do a complete metabolic panel, will tell me your sodium, your potassium, your calcium. It will tell me your liver function and your renal function. And then I always advise your B12, your vitamin D. Um, so the clients who accept, we draw the blood, we make a plan. After that blood draw comes back about 2 days after. And usually they come in thinking they're B12 deficient or they're anemic, they have low iron, but it's really just vitamin D, low vitamin D. The only sun we take is to the car to work, to the car from work, to the car to the store. And it's usually past, 8 o'clock. And it's about 10 minutes when we're driving. That's the whole sun that we're getting in through the window, which is not enough. So I always talk to them about vitamin D deficiency. And in my experience, it's always a vitamin D deficiency. It's always a magnesium deficiency. I'm exhausted if I have a lot of anxiety. So we test those. And when they come back, we realize that it's not B12. And then we can supplement your minerals and the vitamins that you need, which be more effective. And my patients will be like, yeah, that's what it is.
Right, right. It makes sense. So if someone, walk us through like someone's first time visit to Dr. Fusion. They did their first time there. So if you could walk us through to give us insight on what that would look like.
Perfect. So somebody walks into the office, they meet my medical assistant. We have them, this is a medical office. So we have them sign the consent for the infusion. We have to take their medical history. We require labs. And if you don't have labs, we can give you something that won't affect your lab work. So we walk through the consent form, your medical history, the HIPAA violation, and the HIPAA policy through the state, through the nation. And we have to, by law, have your signature. And then after that, we sit down, we have a consultation. Is where I ask you, what are your goals? How are you feeling? How have you been feeling? I'll ask you what you think you need, and then I will give you my advice in my experience. And then we take your vital signs, we take your blood pressure, we take your saturations, we take your heart rate. We make sure that your vitals are good enough to tolerate an infusion. And then we take your infusion and we hook you up, and then we're watching you those 30 minutes or an hour, depending the infusion you choose or the infusion that we think is best for you. We watch you, we're with you in that room the whole time. And afterwards, before we take the infusion off, we take your vitals, we make sure you're stable, and then we take the infusion off.
Could you share like what other besides the fusion, what other like what other services are available within the office?
Yes. So we are a wellness office. So we offer lab work. We offer your yearly physical exam. We offer the infusions. We offer Botox, fillers, facials, microneedling, PRP. We have an infrared salt sauna, and we also do cold plunge. And a lot of education. I think the key here is educating the population and what is a good lifestyle, because we have a lot of patients. We do also weight loss and weight management. We have patients who think they're healthy, that they have healthy habits, and that they eat healthy. And until I show you what is a healthy lifestyle, healthy living, healthy eating, you don't know that you're doing it wrong. My patient's like, oh, but I don't eat anything all day. I don't understand why I'm overweight, I'm exhausted. And when I sit with them, they eat one meal a day, but they're hard carbs. They'll sit down at 12 o'clock and they'll have, rice or pasta, very little vegetables, very little fruits, and very little protein. So they're high carbs, one day a meal. So all of that becomes sugar and it stores in your body as sugar. And that's the problem. You decrease your metabolism. Your one meal a day is high carbs, and it became sugar, and it's all staying in your fats. So a lot of education.
Weight management is obviously a huge topic today. What makes your approach different from traditional weight loss programs?
Our weight loss programs are first getting the client to be um they have to have commitment with themselves. But that's not enough. They have to be compromised economically. That's going to hold them onto their word. And with me in the office, they have to come see me weekly. And I ask them questions. What did you eat? And I try to correct them. So I'm not just injecting them. I'm not just giving the infusions. I'm educating and I'm holding them responsible with their own commitment to themselves, with their money, and with me in the office. Totally different when somebody supposedly has commitment with themselves. But, they do it one day, they don't do it another day, they'll do it for a week, they don't come in for a week. No, I let them know from the beginning, you have to pay up front. This is a 12-week program. There's no way you're going to get out of these 12 weeks. You have to come weekly, and I will call you. I will send you messages. You have to come in the office and we measure you, we weigh you, we take your body mass index, we take your pictures, and I'm with you that whole time. But those 12 weeks, I'm educating you. I'm making you conscious what you can eat, what you can't eat, what you can do, what you cannot do the whole time.
And the more committed someone is, the better results are going to get.
Yes, so the more committed, because you can be committed to yourself partially, but you have to have somebody to hold you responsible for that commitment. So that's where we come in. We give you the tools. We're gonna maximize your commitment with the products at the office, and your lab work. We got to get your lab work to help you get to your results. If you don't have the right minerals in your body, you're not gonna feel right to do anything.
Right, that makes perfect sense. What do you hear from people most that are most skeptical about with the fusions or the cold plunges?
Yeah. So they are thinking that it's not medicine, that it's not real, that natural alternatives are not real. They don't work. And they will tell it straight to my face. They're like, their wife will come in and they'll bring their husbands and they're all into it. And they'll bring them in not the first time, but the second, third. No, I feel great. I promise you this work. And they're like, no, that doesn't work. That's all fake. That's just water. That's gonna make me gain weight until they try it. And they'll tell me, I don't believe in this, but I'm going to try because my wife says she feels great, or my friend told me she feels great. They come into the office, they see that the results are immediate, and then the next day they feel great and they come back. And these are clients that are going to come back for years.
Yeah, IV fusions obviously are becoming more and more popular every day. What about cold plunges? What are you hearing some benefits that people are feedback you're getting from those?
So treatment with cold plunge, it's called shock therapy. And when we do it in the office, we have you come in. The best form to do this is to do a detox infusion, sweat it out in the sauna, sweat all of that detox, help your body detox it through your pores and your kidneys, right? Urinating. So you're in the sauna for I would say 120 degrees for about 30 to 40 minutes. After that, you dry yourself up. You get in the cold plunge for about 3 minutes. To the people who can tolerate you got to train your body for this. Majority of people can't do 3 minutes in the beginning, especially from coming from extreme heat to extreme cold. So it's a shock therapy. You're coming from extreme heat to extreme cold, and what your brain doesn't know what's going on. So your brain is gonna release endorphins. It's going to release those fight or flight hormones in our bodies, and it's going to rewire your brain, and it's going to rewire your immune system. So your immune system has to activate immediately because it's saying, we're going to freeze to death, we're going to die. Your immune system wakes up and it starts producing, your immune system cells, plus your brain is liberating serotonin and other hormones to kind of keep you awake and fighting. So we call it shock therapy, and that's good for depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, insomnia, immune system, autoimmune disorders, inflammation, people who are athletes that their muscles, that it breaks down It's great for recovery for muscles. So it is amazing therapy, especially when you combine it with extreme heat and extreme cold.
For people that don't know the difference, from a regular sauna or even what an infrared sauna is, how could you share and describe that to them?
Okay, so infrared salt sauna or infrared sauna. A regular sauna is basically steam, and you're getting that heat from the steam. In infrared sauna, you're getting the heat from the panels that are producing light. The lights are so intense that your eyes cannot see them. So when you get steam, your body feels it through the skin. When you get infrared light, it's penetrating all the way down through the bone. So this heat that's coming through the panels, or it's like the sun. The sun is very far away, but it heats up earth and you feel it, you feel that heat. So same thing with the infrared sauna. You're getting the panels that are producing the heat through light, like the sun, through light. But the infrared light penetrates all the way down to your bone. So your bone is going to get the benefits and all the cells, your blood system, your muscles, your tissues. It's not just going to be through the skin. It's going to penetrate all the way down to the bone. And it's going to cause increased cell signaling and detoxification, something that steam sauna cannot do.
It's the first time I've heard it explained like that. That's great. So the treatments of infrared sauna and the cold plunge, how can they? I mean, you've already mentioned in detail, but how can they complement overall health goals?
So they give you longevity, right? Because especially in the American nation, in the United States, our lifestyle is an anxiety lifestyle. We are, I think, trained to produce, to produce, to produce, to produce. We need to make money. We need to have certain life goals. We need to have the house, the cars. Our kids have to go to the best school. We have to wear the best clothes. We have to live in the best community. We have to. So we are raised this way. The American dream, we actually, I wouldn't call it freedom. It's actually, we condemn ourselves to working, 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 and we forget that we compromise our health. So you have American people in the United States that are trained to go to school and to work, 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 work. And the least thing that we're doing is actually thinking about our health care. And then that's a whole nother story, a whole nother topic. But so we have the worst quality of food in the whole world. We have a lot of preservatives, a lot of colorants. We have a lot of food that has artificial chemicals that hurts our body, that accumulate in our body. And we work so much that we're too tired to sweat to go work out. So we don't sleep, we don't eat right, and we don't exercise. So this is the American lifestyle. We work and we don't sleep and we don't eat good food. So we don't detox our bodies. So the infrared sauna and the cold plunge help us detoxify in the sweating. We sweat off those toxins that have been accumulating in our bodies from our foods and our poor quality of sleep in the air.
Right, right. How important is lab testing in the journey to better health, and what kind of things are you usually looking for?
So I would say, like, you get in the car and, right, you use glasses or you have good vision and you can see, right? You can't drive by blindfolded. You're gonna crash. I would say that's the same thing when we talk about healthcare. We need to see what are your deficiencies in order to make you feel right or make you healthy. So you're asking me how I want to come in, I want to get an infusion, and you could if you don't have any goal. If you don't have a goal, you just, want to come in for an infusion, you want to feel good, and that's it. You can do it. But if you have goals, we need to see where your deficiencies are so we can help you feel your best. Because, like I said, if you have a vitamin D deficiency and I'm giving you B12, you're never going to feel better because I'm not fixing your vitamin D deficiency. If you have a magnesium deficiency, which we all do, because we drink a lot of coffee and coffee doesn't let us absorb the magnesium naturally in our stomach, you're gonna feel anxious, you're not gonna sleep, you have insomnia, you feel restless every day. If I don't test you to correct that, I'm not going to correct it. You're not going to feel better. You might feel better in the moment, maybe 2, 3 days before afterwards, but we're not going to fix the problem. If you are anemic and you have iron deficiency and you think you're tired because you have B12 deficiency, and you can be anemic because of a B12 deficiency, but if the problem is iron, I have to test you for iron. I can't be giving you B12 because I'm not going to fix your problem. So testing is, taking our blindfold off and seeing where we need to correct you. So I would say it is best to always test, so we're not blindfolded.
What advice would you give someone that's just starting out, that wants to, what advice would you give them to invest in their health just to get
Okay.
started? What's like one of the first things you'd recommend?
So I always recommend, going to a physician, getting your physical examination done, getting your lab work, and they are going to do regular labs. And then I also recommend, going to a place like a wellness center that we can test for everything without your medical insurance, approving it. Because your doctor, a regular doctor, is going to be like, your medical insurance not going to approve it. So I would recommend somebody, to save the money up. It's not that expensive, but it is a little pricey. Um, save up the money to get every test that they can possibly get. Check your lipid panels, check your iron, your anemia panel, every blood work you can get. Save the money for that, get that done, and then make a plan to rebalance those minerals, all of those deficiencies, and then we would have to, right, guide you and educate you in what is a good lifestyle habits, exercise, food, sleep, everything. Educate you around that. And if you're overweight, bring down your weight, control your hemoglobin 1. We have to check your inflammation markers, just a lot of inflammation markers, especially your hemoglobin A1C, which is going to tell you if you're diabetic, if you're pre-diabetic, or if you're heading towards diabetes. So we got to correct high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, inflammation, mineral deficiency, vitamin deficiencies before we even start, a wellness program.
If you would share with everyone where they can find some more information about Dr. Fusion.
Okay, so we have our office in Lakeland, Florida. Lakeland is in between Orlando and Tampa, Central Florida. We are downtown Lakeland. We're in the McKay building. And also I have our website, which is www.driploungebydrfusion.com. You can also follow us on IG, Instagram, Drip Lounge by Dr. Fusion, or on Facebook, Drip Lounge by Dr. Fusion, or you can call us. We have our phone number. You'll find our information online on our website or on our social media.
Any last encouraging words for someone that's looking for better health?
Yes. So don't leave yourself last. Especially women, we tend to leave ourselves last. We take care of our husbands, we take care of our children, and then we are too exhausted to take care of ourselves. So I would always recommend, don't leave yourself last. And we cannot do it all at once. We set a goal for one thing first, we knock that goal down, and then we go number 2. So if you're overweight, we're going to work on your overweight, and then we, just one goal at a time. And then that's it. You can do
Awesome.
it. We've been doing it, and it's possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for your time today, Julyssa.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.